when I looked at his DVD, it cost $64.64. So I was like, okay. So I got the DVD. As I started researching into this more and more, looking at Nassim's work, he showed how to make the Star of David a three-dimensional object, how it's connected to the pyramids. I won't go into all that. He shows how it's connected with this ancient geometric symbol called the flower of life, seen inscribed in the pyramids and all over the world. The flower of life. I realized that this was connected to this Ouroboros shape, that all these things were one and the same. And as I'm deepening on this revelation, as I walk out of my work, I walk out and I look down on the ground for me, and this flower of life is actually inscribed on the ground outside of the building that I was working on. I had never seen it before, and since then I've pointed out to many people. And we're here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's outside of the Bank of America building, the flower of life inscribed on the ground there, as this revelation came to me. Still, I was having a problem. I couldn't understand the mathematics. I don't understand human calculus, trigonometry, all these things, tensor calculuses, these complex mathematics. And I knew that there was something wrong with it, that it didn't really get to the heart of it. I began to really firmly believe that the answer would be in numbers. In fact, I was walking around for weeks explaining and telling my brother, I'll understand what all this is when I can understand how numbers are creating geometry, which currently arithmetic is said that it doesn't explain geometry in standard mathematics. I said, I'll know this when I see how numbers create geometry. And so I began to really look into that. Suddenly it popped in my mind, I've never researched the caduceus. Why have I never researched the caduceus? This is the whole catalyst for everything in my life. And I've never even looked into it, where it comes from, what it is. So I started to research it. I saw obviously the connections between that and DNA, as I mentioned, between these ideas of the morphogenic field, as like Rupert Sheldrake's work. I saw those connections. Rupert was a good friend of Terence as well, and probably one of the most brilliant biologists who's lived. And as I researched the caduceus, I came across this webpage explaining the history of the caduceus. Caduceus was the sign of Hermes, okay, who was the Greek god of wisdom. It says Hermes is the same character as Thoth or Thoth in ancient Egypt. He was known in the Bible as Enoch, and in the Quran, his name was Idris, which was my name, my Arabic name. It goes on to say he was this guy who went around before the end of the last cycle of the ages teaching people on how geometry is creating time and how and creating space and time. He was connecting it to the same geometry I was working with. It said that his number was 11. And so I was astounded by that. I'm studying on resonant time periods. I'm actually living through, because at the time I was teaching people on this, and I was actually living what I'm experiencing as a simultaneous synchronicity. But it went on. It said a symbol was the Star of David. His number was 11. It said Enoch or Idris, he was taken into heaven, and he was transformed into this angel, into a higher form of light, which is called Metatron. And it says Metatron has a twin aspect, or a twin brother, or some kind of split off, who was the god of music and sound, or the archangel of music and sound, and his name was Sandalphon. Okay? Now this was where I really, another point, that it keeps increasing in intensity. It's like a wave. Okay? It's building on itself. It's a creation. The reason why is because my name is Randolph. From the time I was a little kid, I've been called Randolphin, okay, by my parents, by my whole family. They've always called me Randolphin. And here it is saying this guy Idris, who's my same name, was turned into an angel, who's also has this reference to this name Sandalphon. It was even funnier by the fact that all the time when I was growing up, people used to always tell me, you know, you really look like that guy in Shakespeare in Love, whatever his name is. I can't remember his name. But you look just like that guy in Shakespeare in Love. People used to tell me that all the time to the point that I was sick of it. I couldn't stand hearing that. One day I'm sitting at a movie with my brother. They flashed this guy's picture up on the screen. It's like the trivia before the movie. They flashed the guy's picture up and it had this name under it, Sandy Powell, across the screen. My name is Randy Powell. And we laughed so hard. This is just ridiculous. Sandy Powell is turning out to look like the costume designer for the movie or something and won an award. And we laughed about that. So here it is, all these connections, okay? This seems weird, but what I'm really doing is showing you how this works. Because these things, reincarnation, it doesn't work on a one-to-one, okay? We're all one. We're all containing everyone, okay? But I was certainly being led on a path. So it goes further. It connects this Enoch, Idris, Sandalphon to this ancient Egyptian deity, Thoth. And it associates Thoth on this website. You know, I haven't really, had the time to research the veracity of all this, but it says on this website anyway, they connect him with the trickster deity and with the date April the 1st, which is my birthday. Okay? And then it says, he wrote a scripture called the Emerald Tablet, okay, after my obsession with the emeralds. And he's shown that, with this caduceus, the emerald, the names, the days, it was all lining up. Okay? So, it also showed how Hermes, the symbol for Hermes was the lyre, which is also identical to the symbol for Aries, which is my birth astrological sign. Shortly after this, I'm standing in a bookstore, a used bookstore, and I'm just walking on the books, and I stuck my hand out, was just running my hand along the shelf, and I touched this book, and literally this voice in my mind said, take this book, pull it out, and look at it. It's very important. I pull the book out. It's a hand-stapled together, hand-typed book from the 1950s, paper, as cheap as it comes. It's called D-Day Sears. It has a picture of a trumpet on it. I open it to the middle of the book. I look right. It says, Thoth was an ancient Egyptian king. So immediately I said, okay, I have to buy this. I took it, bought it for $3. What it is some New Age channel book, and I don't really support necessarily channeling or trancing or any superstitious practices, but whatever. I was pretty much open to anything. I basically took this home and read it. It was a prophecy of this woman in the 50s channeling a prophecy from the ancient seeress Mother Shipton, who was a real, I was aware of her from my studies. I was aware of who she was. She wrote many oracles, many prophecies, kind of like a Nostradamus about the end of the world. Well, immediately when I mentioned to my brother this was some prophecy from Mother Shipton, he laughed. And then before he even had to tell me, the irony of the name hit me, like Mother Shipton. And this is another example of the way these names overlay, because we're living in the world of names, in the world of language. Everything here is a language. And that's what this project is all about, revealing.